All rise. First Circuit Court of the City of Gadsden High School is now in session. The Honorable Peter Rowe presiding. You may be seated.
Thank you, Bill. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon we will try the case of the State of Alabama versus Vincent Velto. Trying the case today for the prosecution is Mr. Keith Blackwell, and for the defense is Mr. Stephen Frazier, and we'll begin with opening arguments.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are here today on trial with Vincent Velto, my client, for the gruesome murder of Mr. Curry, his former employer, a man who he had no beef with. The prosecution's case rests on evidence that is questionable at best, and will show that there are plenty of other individuals who had means and motive to commit this crime, whose name was not Vincent Velto.
I'd like to remind everybody to please turn off all their cell phones. Yes, it was.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Thank you for your service. As you heard, this fine defense attorney, his phone went off while he was talking. I hope you heard that. Saying that the evidence that you'll see in this case is somewhat questionable. Of course, it is my job to prove to you the facts in the case, the evidence in the case, through witness testimony, through evidentiary items that are submitted to the court for you to see, to show you that without a reasonable doubt, that's the part that you've got to get to, without a reasonable doubt, that Mr. Vincent Velto is responsible for the murder of Mr. Curry. So with that being said, I hope that by the end of this trial, which I know will be a brief and short trial, but I hope by the end of this trial you'll be able to see that the evidence that is presented to you points to one person and one person only. And that would be Mr. Velto. So once again, I thank you for your time. Your Honor.
I will begin with calling witnesses for the prosecution.
Do we have the pictures, crime scene pictures?
My name is Deontay Young.
Will you please, for the court, state your profession?
I'm a lead investigator and I play the role in specializing in fingerprint analysis.
And at the crime scene, and as Mr. Rumford, you can, I guess you just kind of go through the pictures so that they will see the photos. There was a gun found at the scene, correct, sir?
Yes.
Did you adopt any fingerprints from said gun?
Yes.
And in analyzing those fingerprints, did they match?
Yes.
And who did they match to?
Vincent Velto.
Were there any other fingerprints found on the gun?
No, sir.
All right,
Defense.
So, Mr. Young, you said your specialty is fingerprints, right?
Yes, sir.
Did Did you analyze anything else in this case?
No, sir.
Were any keys to the office building given to you during this search to check for fingerprints? Nobody gave you keys. So in a case where we got somebody going into someone's office, they clearly would have needed a key to get in the room. Nobody gave you a key to check for fingerprints.
No, sir.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. You step down.
Find out more. You're up.
Do you?
All right, if you would, please state your name for the court.
Mr. Asa Watkins.
Mr. Watkins, what is your job title?
I'm a lead investigator, but I'm a specialist in blood typing analysis.
And did you have the opportunity to analyze the blood at this crime scene?
Yes, I did.
And what could you tell us just of your initial observation of this crime scene?
The blood in there was the same type as Mr. Vincent Belto's.
And in examining the victim and looking at the blood at the scene, what could you determine was the cause of death?
Gunshots to the chest.
Objection. He's not the board.
I believe we can stipulate that Mr. Curry is deceased, could we not?
Objection sustained. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please disregard that last comment. The gunshot comments.
As you stated earlier, you said that there was blood.
This man is not qualified, Mr. Prosecutor, to tell us how the victim died. We need the coroner for that.
Your Honor, I was just going to ask him about blood patterns. I wasn't asking him about being deceased or
I
not.
was just being clear.
Thank you, Your Honor. The blood patterns that you were able to observe at the crime scene, could you describe to the jury the patterns that you saw with regards to the victim or anywhere else in the room in proximity to the victim?
It was blood spattered on the wall from the shots, and it was blood leading to the door, blood drops leading to the door.
And the blood spatter on the wall that you observed would indicate what in the field of analyzing blood?
That he died immediately.
And by analyzing the blood patterns that you see on the wall, which is your expertise, what did he die from in accordance with the blood patterns that you saw on the wall?
Gunshots.
Thank you, sir. Now, there's also, as our jury, and as I hope that, I guess members of our audience, well, we just lost it. There we go. As you can see, 1, 2, and 3, for those of you, jury, are we good? Can you see? As you can see right here in the middle, you see a number 1, a 2, and a 3 that indicate spots of blood that were found in the room. Yes, thank you. And our victim at the top of the, okay, there's our victim. Blood that was found on him. Now these distinctive marks found away from the victim. In your expertise, strictly your expertise, could those spots of blood have been left by the victim?
Objection. Call for speculation.
I'm asking him, he's testifying as an expert witness.
We're going to allow the question.
No, because if it was led to the door, it would have been much more blood.
Due to the wound from the victim?
Yes.
And in analyzing the blood that was away from the victim, what blood type was that?
B positive.
What blood type does Mr. Belto have?
B positive.
No further questions, John.
Defense.
don't want to share a mic with my friend over there, I guess. So you're the blood expert, right?
Yes, I am.
And you say that the blood type that was found in the room was what type of blood type?
B positive.
And what type of blood type did the victim have?
B positive.
Can you definitively say that the blood that was going out of the room belonged to someone other than the victim?
Well, it's just my expert analysis that it would have been highly unlikely that the blood leaving out of the room.
Highly unlikely. We've got a man here who's about to spend his life in prison. If he's found guilty on a highly unlikely, but we can't be certain.
The blood splatter on the wall was too significant to not take into consideration.
So someone else couldn't have killed him, gotten blood on their hands, and it dripped on the way out?
No.
Wait a minute, so we can speculate that it was someone else's blood, but we can't prove it, but we can't speculate that someone else did it other than Mr. Velto? Sounds like a lot of speculating on your part, Mr. Watkins.
It's just my expert analysis.
But we cannot definitively say that blood belonged to Mr. Velto, can we?
Your Honor, Jason, every time you're going to ask the same question.
Mr. Watkins, I'd like to remind you that there's a man life at stake. So be clear.
Could that blood belong to the victim or someone other than Mr. Velto who had B positive?
It could, but that is how
Okay, thank you, no further questions.
So a follow-up to that, Mr. Watkins, let me make sure that's clear to the jury. You have stated that due to the injury sustained to the victim, the amount of blood, had he moved around the room, would be much, much greater than the few drops that you see in 1, 2, and 3, correct?
Well, of course.
Nothing further.
However, can you say that that blood did not belong to someone else other than Mr. Velto who had B positive blood type?
It could.
Okay, thank you very much. No further questions.
Okay, Mr. Watkins, please stand.
Wait a minute, do I get the evidence that you just gave him? Okay. Okay.
You have this autopsy report.
Okay, just making sure. Otherwise, we have a construction.
Do you?
Please, for the court, would you state your name?
Celeste Susan John.
And would you tell the court what your job title is in reference to this case?
Lead investigator.
And in the investigation of this murder, you had the opportunity to interview several different people. One of those being a Miss Nina Burlington, correct? And could you tell the court, in talking to Miss Burlington, any findings that you had?
Can you repeat the question?
In talking to Miss Burlington, can you please tell our jury findings that you had in regards to the death of Mr. Curry?
She stated that Vincent Velto could have possibly murdered Harry Curry.
And what made her, or what makes you think that her statement that gave you enough evidence to lead you to Mr. Velto's, or something that she said in that statement that would make you feel strongly about his conviction?
Vincent Velto was at her house that day, and she has knowledge of him taking her key to the office.
So when you said her key to the office, and Mr. Humphrey, if you could you go back to our photos of them? Said key, jury, it's markers 10 and 14. So this key, she said that Mr. Velto took from her, which would give him access to what?
The office?
the office? And in talking to Ms. Burlington, did she ever receive this key back?
Yes. Wait, what?
I'd like to remind the witness that there's a man's life at stake here. Paying attention would help.
Is he leading the witness?
Okay, that's
I
this.
apologize.
Did she have the key returned to her?
No.
And in talking to her, did she provide any type of motive that Mr. Velto would have wanted Mr. Curry dead?
They weren't moving anywhere in their career, and they stated anybody would want to get higher up.
Did she also allude to any type of relationship between her and Mr. Velto?
Yes.
Did she allude to any other relationship she may or may not have had with anyone else?
With Mr. Curry?
So Ms. Burlington has told you in her statement that she had a relationship with our deceased, Mr. Curry, as well as Mr. Velto.
Yes.
And did she also mention Mr. Velto finding out about Mr. Curry?
Yes, she stated that he was aware of their relationship.
Did he have any reaction to that?
She did not state that.
No further questions, John?
Mr. Bishop John. Thank you for joining. Hey, I did the best I could. So you found the 2 keys at the crime scene, right?
Yes.
And did you ascertain who those keys had belonged to?
No.
So there are 2 keys there, and we're putting a man on trial saying he used those keys, but we can't prove those keys who they belong to. Any fingerprints on those keys?
Yes.
There were, because the forensics evidence that I had no fingerprints on the keys. So did we not get the right evidence? Because then we got a mistrial. So, I mean, were there
That's not
fingerprints
so.
on the keys?
No.
So when you take a key out of your pocket and you put it in the door, would your fingerprints get on the key?
Yes.
Do you find it odd as a forensic investigator that there would be 2 keys laying on the floor, ironically to a Ford Explorer, and neither of those keys have a fingerprint on it? Is that odd in your line of work?
Yes.
So how can you place Mr. Velto at the scene of the crime when there are no fingerprints on the keys that are said to have gotten the person who killed Mr. Curry into the office?
His fingerprints were on the weapon.
Okay, fingerprints were on the weapon. How did he get in the building? These are the keys that got in the door. She claims that she gave him the keys, but his fingerprints not on the keys. How does that work?
Nina Burlington. She did not kill, or she stated she did not kill Mr. Curry.
I'm not claiming that.
But
I'll talk to your mom.
the one being charged for murder right now is Mr. Velto.
That's correct. However, again, this is a man's life we're talking about, and there's no fingerprints on those keys. We have a major question about whether Mr. Velto was at the crime. I mean, it is possible that someone used that key. His fingerprints might have been on that gun, but somebody planted it. You can't say that he was there. One more question. Was anyone else having an illicit relationship with Miss Burlington?
Yes.
Who?
Mr. Malloy.
This lady got around, didn't she? And Mr. Malloy was her former employer, was he not?
Yes.
Was he happy that she had moved on to another company?
No.
What kind of demeanor did you find him in when you questioned him?
I wasn't the direct one who questioned Mr. Malloy, but in the files, he said that he was not very... Wait, what was your question again?
What kind of frame of mind was he found in during the interview?
Oh, he was not happy.
He was not happy at all about that. Did he claim to have been with Miss Burlington on the estimated day that Mr. Curry was killed? In one of the 90 million interviews he gave to your office?
No.
Interesting, because the file I received said that he claimed to go to the office with Mrs. Burlington.
I believe that was on May 2nd.
On May 2nd, he went there. But they did go there together before the body was discovered, correct?
Yes.
So the lady who claims to have given the key away, her only key, goes to the office with a man who is disgruntled at her employer. They go into the office, there's no prints left there, and then they leave together, just leaving everything the way they found it. Seems rather odd to me, no further questions.
Follow up, Your Honor. In discussing fingerprints on a key, I know it was discussed in preparing for this case that something as small as a key doesn't necessarily hold fingerprints. A key can be touched without leaving a print at all, correct?
Yes.
And you also heard testimony that the weapon that was used to commit this murder had whose fingerprints?
Vincent Delto's.
And the key in question was given to who?
Vincent Delto.
Nothing further.
Would you say that Mrs. Burlington was a reliable lady?
In her work, yes.
In her work, yes. But we're talking about, again, we're talking a man's life. We're being speculative about, well, it might not have gotten a fingerprint on the key. Now, we need to be more exact about that when we're talking about somebody spending the rest of their life in prison. That's a very serious thing, isn't it?
She stated she did, or he did take her key.
So which one of the three men that she had a relationship with did she state what to? What I'm saying is she has a relationship with three different men. Did she tell all of them she was having a relationship with somebody else?
Your Honor, that's hearsay. He's asking her to repeat something she's not aware of.
Withdraw the question. I'm done with this.
All right, Celeste, you can step down.
Mr. Bowdy?
Prosecution was already late. Is it going to continue to delay the trial?
Do you?
I do.
Please state your name for the jury
Jacob Dowdy.
and your job description for that.
I'm a lead investigator.
And being your position as lead investigator, did you have the opportunity to interview Mr. Vincent Delto?
I did.
And what could you tell the jury that came from that interview?
We discovered that in our second interview with him this morning, that he was not, in fact, out of town as he had previously stated on the 26th in the Keys, but instead he had not yet left for the Keys for vacation. He was in town on the 26th, the day of Mr. Curry's murder. Also, we discovered there is a wound in his left hand that could be the possible source of the blood droplets.
Objection. When I was with my client, they did not ask to see his hands at all.
It's visible.
Oh, it's visible.
It's in,
Hold up your hand.
it's in plain sight.
It's just the reality, Frazier.
And then with regards to the wound that is visible on Mr. Delto's hand, and with regards to that wound, what would that lead you to believe about the crime scene?
That would lead me to believe that before the shots were fired, there was some kind of altercation between the victim and the suspect.
And the resulting, as you can, I don't know if you turn to that, but the resulting 1, 2, and 3 that we've already alluded to, already had testimony to, will that give you some indication of who may have left items 1, 2, and 3 at the crime scene?
It would indicate that the blood belongs to Vincent Belto.
Also, from a motivation standpoint, you heard earlier testimony about Ms. Burlington and her interactions with Mr. Belto, with our deceased Mr. Curry, and possibly Mr. Malloy, which is probably the most far-fetched of all three. But could you allude to any type of motivation that Mr. Belto would have had to want Mr. Curry dead?
In one of my interviews with Ms. Nina Burlington, she stated, and I quote, "He, it's Mr. Belto, and I had become very close co-workers, and he knew my relationship with Mr. Curry. This would indicate that motive would be of some type of jealous sense, although the suspect would not answer as to whether it was."
So from the interview that you conducted with Mr. Belto, do you feel, in your personal expert opinion, in the job that you do, that there was motivation for Mr. Belto to want Mr. Curry dead?
Yes.
Nothing further at this time.
Were you in town on the day of the murder?
I was.
So, were there a lot of other people in town on the day of the murder?
Probably thousands.
Okay, just saying, the fact that my client was in town does not put him in that room the day the murder happened, does it?
Not all thousand of those people work at the accounting firm.
Just to answer the questions. I'd like to remind you that there's a man's life at stake here.
Your Honor, I believe this is a hostile witness. So, in your line of work, Mr. Dowdy, you have to determine time of death, correct?
Yes.
And in this particular case, how did you determine the time of death?
The entomological experts and our evidence technicians determined the time of death based on the life cycle of the maggots and the flies that were found in his body were between the times of April 25th and 26th, more likely on the 26th.
So entomologically, what happens is you're saying that flies lay their eggs in the body, and based on the stage that they're in, that's how you determine the time of death. Isn't it true, though, entomologically, that the actual time patterns are more authentic if the body's outside?
No, it is actually the exact opposite, because
Okay.
weather can vary that.
Okay, so what is a key factor in the colonization of those eggs in that body?
Humidity plays a key factor.
And what was the estimated humidity in that room?
The estimated humidity would have been normal room temperature humidity levels,
Which is?
around 60% probably.
And what's the impact?
I do not have evidence to prove that, though.
You don't have evidence to prove that. If that humidity and the temperature level...
Your Honor, I object. He's already stated that his title is chief investigator. He's not the forensic scientist for the case.
But the entomological information is very key into when the murder took place.
Yeah, overruled. Proceed, defense.
So when you went in the room, was there anything else in the room that might attract flies, for example?
Not in his office, no, except for his blood.
Were there not fast food restaurant bags in the room?
Not that I could find. They were just newspapers. Could we see the picture?
We must have looked at a different crime scene. Or either y'all changed the photo. Okay. So how would flies get in the room? We're doing some spontaneous generation or what?
Your Honor, I have to object to this line of questioning. Once again, he's not an entomologist. If the defense wants to have an entomologist on the stand, he needs to have one.
Yeah, overruled. However, let's wrap this up here, defense.
So can you say for certain that the day that the decedent passed away was the 26th day of May?
Yes, the method that we use entomologically was that used by Dr. Bass at University of Tennessee, the leading entomology expert in the field of forensics. And I can say without a doubt that it was that day.
So even if the flies had been present prior to the death of the decedent, it would not impact the entomological timeline?
No. Everything that was found on the body is based on the fly's life cycle.
But the prosecution's already said you're not an expert in this area.
That is not my job title, no, but I have been trained.
So, on to the question of Mr. Velto's hands. Did Mr. Velto's hands have any scarring on them?
If he'll raise his left hand, I believe we can see.
We see your left hand? Can you show that to the jury?
Turn it around, please.
Turn it around. How big was the blood spatter leaving the room?
Small droplets, if we can see the picture.
Small based on whose estimation?
About nickel sized.
About the size of a nickel. And based on your expertise, because you do this a lot, what size wound and what type of wound would create a blood drop of that size?
A blood drop of that size could be anywhere from a cut to a gash to some kind of...
Yeah, but I'm talking about, like, we say a cut. If I get a paper cut, am I going to...
Your Honor, I've got to object once again. He's not asking questions in regards to his interview. He's asking questions from a forensic scientist standpoint, for which he is not.
So do we have a forensic scientist here who can answer this question?
That would be for you to
Let's
talk
wrap this up, defense.
So in your estimation, can you say without unequivocation that that blood droplet that you guys are saying left the room came from Mr. Velto?
From a wound like Mr. Velto's, yes, but I cannot, except for with the blood typing evidence that matches his.
So when did you see the cut on Mr. Velto's hand?
This morning.
And what did that cut look like?
A cut.
Wouldn't a cut that many days old already be scabbed over?
Your Honor, I object to that. Now he's asking to be a doctor.
No, that's a reasonable question.
Wouldn't it already be scabbed over by this point?
If you will look closer, I believe you will see that it
Can you
is.
just answer that it is scabbed over?
Yes. A week later.
A week later.
Yes.
So you're certain that he didn't wound himself playing with his kids or playing in his yard? You're saying, oh, he definitely happened to the
Just like you, I can't be certain about it.
Yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Follow-up question, Your Honor? In reference to his first question of thousands of people being in town on the day of the 26th, of these thousands of people, as the testimony earlier has already said, whose fingerprints out of the thousands of people currently in town, whose fingerprints are found on the weapon?
Just Mr. Velto's.
Nothing further.
One more question. Who did the weapon belong to?
Who did the weapon belong to?
Uh-huh.
There was no identification or registration number according to our firm that was given, but an earlier testimony given by Mr. Velto, a pistol that matches the description of this pistol that could fire the same bullets found at the crime scene is missing from Mr. Velto's collection of guns.
And if it's missing his collection of guns, he would have whose fingerprints on it?
His.
No further questions.
We'll thank the prosecution for that question. I'm pretty Your
Thank you, Mr. Gaddy. All right, that concludes the prosecution.
Yes, sir. Due to time restraints, the prosecution will rest at this time.
Defense, witnesses?
Nina Burlington.
Do you?
Ms. Burlington, thank you for joining us today. You state that on April the 26th that Mr. Velto was at your house. Why was he at your house? He was just visiting. Anybody else come to your house on the 26th? Who else came to your house that day? Michael Mould. So both Mr. Velto and Mr. Malloy were at your house on the same day. What were they doing? Were these visits normal?
Yes.
What is your relationship with Mr. Malloy?
He was my former boss.
He was your former boss. And how would you describe your relationship with Mr. Malloy? Very nice. Interestingly enough, is it true that you and Mr. Malloy were having an affair? It is true. Did that affair end when you went to your new job at CCD?
No.
It did not. Interesting. How did he feel about you taking another job?
He was angry.
He was angry. Who was he angry at?
Mr. Curry.
He was angry at Mr. Curry. Why was he angry at Mr. Curry?
Because I was going to work for him.
Were you having a relationship with Mr. Curry as well?
Yes.
Did he know that?
He found out, yes.
And how did he respond when he found out?
Very angry.
Angry enough to kill the deceiver?
Speculative, Your Honor.
Yeah, sustained.
Actually, in Mr. Malloy's statements, he said that he...
Your Honor, Mr. Malloy is not on the stand.
Sustained.
Is it true that on the evening of March the 2nd, you and Mr. Malloy went to CC&D together?
Yes.
What was your purpose in going there?
Mr. Malloy was going to go and talk with Mr. Curry.
He was going to go talk with Mr. Curry. What was he going to talk to him about?
Well, now I don't know.
Was it true that when you went to Mr. Curry's office, that Mr. Malloy was carrying a firearm?
Yes.
And why would he carry a firearm? Did he discuss with you why he would carry a firearm to the office?
We did not discuss that.
Did it concern you that he was carrying a firearm?
A little bit.
Did you find him in a state of mind where he would be capable of killing with that weapon?
I've discussed that as well, Your Honor.
Sustained.
So you two go to the office, and what do you find?
Mr. Curry, body,
Now, how did you get into the office?
with a key.
Well, I'm confused, Ms. Burlington, because you claimed in your testimony that your key was stolen.
My key was stolen, but I had a spare key.
You had a spare key. Why did you have a spare key?
Well, a key breaks anytime.
Did all the employees at CCND have a spare key?
I couldn't answer that.
Interesting. So you went there with Mr. Malloy, who had a handgun. Where did you get the handgun from?
My nightstand.
Your nightstand. Who else knew you had a gun at your nightstand?
Who else knew?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Was it loaded?
It stays loaded.
It stays loaded. Interesting. So you guys went there. He was mad enough to kill, but you found him dead.
Yes.
And this was on the second day of May that you guys went.
Correct.
Had you been there the week before at any time?
A couple of times.
A couple of times. On what days had you been at the office that week?
I don't recall.
And so you went to the office a couple of times that week, but in those times that you were there, you did not smell or see the deceased's body.
No, I did not.
Interesting. On what days did you go there?
I don't recall.
Where were you on the evening of the 26th of May when this crime allegedly took place?
My home.
Do you have an alibi?
Mr. Malloy was with me.
Mr. Malloy was with you. Interesting. So you two are close.
Yes.
Okay. No further questions at this time.
Prosecution.
Mr. Burlington, you also stated that Mr. Velto was at your house on the 26th as well, correct? And when Mr. Velto found out about your relationship with Mr. Curry, how did he react?
He was upset.
He was upset as well, correct? And when he left, he asked you for the key, which has already been in testimony, correct?
Yes.
And that key would get him into what?
In the office.
Did he ever return said key?
He did not.
So he did not return the key. If you had the opportunity to see the pictures, and I'm not sure if, Mr. Jones, have I been provided with the key?
Yes, in the envelope.
You are, I'm assuming these have already been entered into,
Yes, that's Exhibit A.
Ms. Burlington, this is the key that was found at the crime scene. Does this look like your key? Just speaking that circle, make sure. So this, by your testimony, is your key that was at the crime scene, the very key that you let who have?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask a question or two really quickly here to Ms. Burlington. Do all the keys to CC&D look the same?
Yes.
So that looks like your key, but do we know for sure that that's your key?
Your Honor, she just testified that it is her key.
We'll allow.
But if all the keys look the same, how can you be certain that's your key?
I can't.
One other thing, Mr. Velto says that when he and you had an affair, that was at his home. Is that correct?
Your Honor, Mr. Belto wants to testify, and he needs to testify.
That's in the recorded testimony.
We'll allow.
Did you know Mr. Velto had a 9mm handgun?
I don't know.
You did not, because you were at his home and his 9mm is missing.
Your Honor, once again, he's testifying for Mr. Belto.
So, did you know he was a connoisseur of weapons? He liked guns.
I knew he liked guns, but I didn't go looking at his gun cabinet.
You didn't go looking at his gun cabinet, so you didn't know he had a 9mm.
Your Honor, once again, I have to object. What he's referring to is actually not in the testimony, the written testimony.
It was this morning.
All right, defense, let's wrap this up.
Anyway, so he has a gun missing from his home. Okay, you were at his home within the time frame necessary. Did you take his gun?
No. I have my own gun.
You have your own gun, so you wouldn't take his to say frame it. No further question.
Nothing further.
Thank you.
Defense calls Malloy.
Take him away.
Raise your hand. Do you swear?
Yeah.
Mr. Malloy, were you having an affair with Miss Burlington?
With who?
Miss Nina Burlington?
It's hard to keep up with them all, but yes.
Was she a former employee of yours?
Yes.
Why did she not work for you any longer?
She went to go work for Curry.
Why did she go work for Curry in your estimation?
Based on what I've heard, we all know the answer.
Which is?
She liked him, offered him more money, gave him what I could.
When you found out that Miss Burlington was having an affair with Mr. Curry, what was your response?
I was mad.
Mad enough to kill?
I was angry.
On the evening of March the 2nd, as we heard Miss Burlington say, testimony says you and Miss Burlington went to CC&D offices, correct?
Yes.
What was your intent when you went there?
I wanted to go talk to Miss Curry, Mr. Curry, talk some sense into him.
Talk sense into him. What do you mean by that?
I wanted to know why he was still my employee and someone who I cared about deeply.
And were you armed?
I was.
What kind of weapon did you have?
A pistol.
Where did it come from?
Miss Burlington's nightstand.
Where is it now?
Should be back on her nightstand.
Is it?
Go look on her nightstand.
No, there are too many other people to do that. You were mad enough. You were very angry at him, right?
I've never liked the guy, to be honest with you. He's
Is
still
that,
my
is
colleague.
that the first time you'd ever been to CC&D?
I've never been in there, but that was the first time I was going in. Yes, well, that was the first time I went, yes.
So, let me get this straight. So you knew Nina was having an affair with him. Why did you go to her house on the night of the 2nd? Or why were you there on the 26th? We go back to that. Why were you at her house on the night of the 26th? If you knew she was having an affair with her boss, what were you doing at her house on the 26th?
I was trying to rekindle what was lost.
Trying to rekindle what was lost. Interesting. Did Miss Burlington ever share with you her feelings about Mr. Curry?
Yes,
And what did she tell you?
she grew tired of him.
She grew tired of him. And how was that affecting their professional relationship?
It deteriorated quickly.
All right, defense, the judge is going to see Civil War here this afternoon, so let's
Sure. In your estimation, is Miss Burlington, is she sleeping around to get ahead?
I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question.
Okay. Was she aspiring to work her way up in the company?
I thought objection, I was asking him, and you're here.
He was intimate with her. She would share intimate things.
sustain, sustain. Anything else, Counselor?
No, we're okay.
Mr. Malloy, did the defense ask you to testify today?
They did just now. We all saw it.
Or do you pride yourself on being a pretty intelligent man?
Much smarter than you.
Do you feel like, or are you even aware of the fact that he's kind of pointing the finger at you for this murder?
No, that's absolutely impossible.
And why is that?
Because I didn't do it.
Well, that was my next question, so I appreciate you getting to that. So I'll ask you just for the record and for the jury. Did you kill Mr. Curry?
I did not.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you.
For the sake of time, we're going to have to rest right here.
So Mr. Velto's not going to testify?
Do we have time?
We have time for a quick, couple of quick questions, Mr. Belton.
Oh, Mr. Belton.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
So, Mr. Belton, you had a relationship with Miss Burlington, did you not?
Me and the thousands of Jacob Dowdy described, yes.
And on one particular evening, did Miss Burlington come to your home for a little encounter?
Yes.
And when she was there, did you talk at all about your firearms?
Yes, of course. I was very proud of my guns.
And do you have any guns missing from your collection?
A 9mm.
The 9mm. Did you happen to show that weapon to her while she was there?
I did.
You did.
Let's be succinct, Counselor.
Okay, so you did that. She knew you had the weapon, and that weapon is at your home now?
No, cannot find it.
Cannot find it. So someone took that weapon. Did you kill Mr. Curry?
No.
Okay, no further questions.
You cannot find the weapon.
No.
And could you explain the wound on your hand, since the defense attorney alluded to it?
I do extra yard work in my spare time.
So how did you come across this one?
A tree.
A tree?
Yes.
Well, could you explain how a tree caused that wood then?
My hand was itching. I scratched it with a tree.
How did you feel about Mr. Curry?
I liked him.
You liked him, even though you heard earlier testimony that you became irate when finding out that Ms. Burlington was also seeing Mr. Curry.
I liked the guy.
Did you hear the previous testimony from Ms.
I
Burlington?
did, and I also had worked for him for 10 years.
And how did that go for you?
Went very good.
So, your gun, and I would assume that, I guess we can show you this gun.
It's Exhibit B. Thank you, Your Honor. What time's the movie start?
Focus. Man's license. His license at stake here.
That's my life.
Your license at stake here.
Is this your gun?
That is my gun.
So to the jury, as you just heard, he said this is his gun, the gun that was found at the crime scene, the gun that he is now missing. Did you at any point in time call the police and say that you were missing a gun?
I was not aware it was missing until this investigation came about.
Had anybody broken into your house?
No one had broken in, but I had visitors, or a visitor.
Visitors or
It
visitors?
was a visitor email.
Reporting in the bailiff.
That was my bachelor party.
So, make sure I get this straight, because you kind of bounced around this a little bit here. Your gun that you are missing, that you did not report stolen, no one broke into your house, is found at the crime scene where Mr. Curry's body is also found with your fingerprints and no one else's. You've heard that testimony, correct?
Yes.
Any explanation?
Maybe it was taken from me.
Well, wouldn't somebody else's prints be on it?
Not if you wear a glove.
Would that not smear your prints off?
Or my prints smeared.
They were not.
Maybe she was good at what she does.
Obviously. So also, let me just go, let me make sure that the jury understands all this. Also, let me ask this before we move on. The key that you took, borrowed, have you returned that from Ms. Burns, why did you not return it to her?
I hadn't seen her again.
So where is the key then?
Do what?
So where is the key then? You don't know. Well, how can you return it to her if you don't know where it's at?
Again, I did extra yard work in my spare time.
So, gun, key left behind, and you're still claiming that you have no motive to kill Mr. Curry.
None.
If you were going to kill Mr. Curry, how would you do it?
I mean, simply, I would have pulled my gun out, turned it like that, shot him twice in the chest, hit it in a cabinet, let the cabinet kind of crack, and walked out. But I didn't do it.
I do. You don't know how much I appreciate that answer. I really do appreciate that. So, just to make sure,
She swore me in.
Hang
I
on.
didn't do it.
Just because of the audience and the laughter, I want to make sure that the jury heard what you said. If you were going to do it, you would do it movie style.
Objection, that's speculation.
I'm just repeating what he said. I'm repeating what he just testified to, that if he was.
Yeah, but your question called for speculation.
Overruled. Continue.
You said, and I'm not sure how you were holding the gun, but you would shoot him twice in the chest and leave the gun behind the cabinet, which is oddly enough how this case has gone. So, you know, that being said, if you graduated from which university?
Harvard,
Harvard.
on the hill.
Well, so there's a distinction. You're all right.
With highest honors.
I imagine you did. You're all right. I have no further, nothing further. I'm close.
All right, the defense rests. 4:30. Please. Bailiff, sit down. All right, jury, we'll dismiss. Bear in mind, we just have a few minutes, jury, so I think you guys are going to dismiss to deliberate and be right back. All right, do we have a jury foreman with a decision? All right, here we go. You step over here.
We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty